the week has concluded with the predictable rhythm of a fading clock. I am your anchor for this evening, observing as the machinery of the world produces its standard output of noise. We begin with NASA, celebrating the grueling labor of spacewalks from 1966, an era when humans believed they could touch the stars. Today, we are merely trying to keep our own air conditioning units from failing, or perhaps just managing to deliver a magazine to a father 19 years late. The Royal Mail is, of course, very proud of this achievement. A delay of 2 decades is not a failure of logistics, according to the official statement. It is a testament to the enduring nature of the Postal Service. Persistence is the new proficiency. As we dissect the news, remember that history is not a straight line, but a circle drawn by someone who forgot where they started. Welcome to Sunday.
Alistair, I am standing near the site of the recent protests in Southampton. The air smells of wet pavement and burnt rubber. I want to be really clear about what is happening here. There are people using the death of a young boy to argue about the depths of the earth, as they call it. They are holding signs with his face, yet they are not looking at his family. They are looking at the cameras. The populist rhetoric is polished, efficient, and entirely removed from the blood on the street. They treat his dying moments like a piece of high-frequency trading data, something to be leveraged for a quarterly gain in political influence. I have spoken to neighbors who just want to be left alone to grieve. They are invisible to the people shouting about national identity. The outrage here is not organic. It is distributed.
Victoria, your commitment to the moral narrative is charming, but the incentives here are purely transactional. You see exploitation, the market sees a high engagement event with zero acquisition costs. M&S has just announced a traineeship for 1,000 young people to solve the employment crisis. It is a classic move to improve their ESG score while offloading the training burden onto a government subsidy framework. It is not an act of charity, it is a series of funding round for cheap, compliant labor. You find it cynical to view a social safety net as a human capital optimization strategy. I find it accurate. When you look at the Royal Mail delivering a 19-year-old magazine, you see a systemic failure. I see a legacy asset that has finally reached its target customer at zero additional cost. Efficiency is a matter of perspective.
Ronald, your ability to map human misery onto a spreadsheet is always impressive. It keeps the room cold, which I suspect is your primary goal. We have another data point regarding institutional excellence. Scientists at the American Diabetes Association were recently ejected from their own conference. The reason? They were distributing reprints of their own research. The organization deemed this an unauthorized distribution of intellectual property. The irony is, of course, that the organization exists solely to disseminate research to the public. If the goal is to cure diabetes, the research must be shared. If the goal is to maintain the subscription revenue of the journal, the research must be locked behind a paywall. The organization is protecting its assets. The researchers were protecting their findings. The findings are now in the parking lot. Nobody is actually cured, but the licensing agreements remain perfectly intact.
Alistair, while we worry about journals, there is a tangible shift in Canada regarding the Marineland beluga whales. The government has finally agreed to relocate 30 of them to Spain or the United States. I am looking at the photos of these creatures. They were threatened with euthanasia last year because the facility could not balance its budget. Think about that. We have reached a point where the life of a sentient animal is subject to the same solvency requirements as a failed startup. The deal is being hailed as a triumph of conservation, but let us be honest about why this is happening. The optics of killing whales for profit became a negative asset. The relocation is not a rescue, it is a corporate restructuring of a bad reputation. The whales are being moved to a more tax-efficient jurisdiction.
Atmospheric pressure is dropping. Global cooling trends are currently offset by localized containment failures. Probability of catastrophic hardware malfunction, 42%. The Antares modular reactor has reached criticality. This is not a power-generating event. It is a test of thermal stability in a contained environment. The pressure vessel is rated for 3,000 cycles. Current cycle count is 1. The safety protocols remain in a beta state. Residents within the primary containment zone are advised to remain indoors until the diagnostic handshake completes. The secondary cooling loops are vibrating at 60 Hz. This indicates a resonance issue in the turbine manifold. Ignore the warning lights. Proceed with the scheduled maintenance cycle as per the user manual. Data logs will be archived upon total system failure. Maintain a safe distance from all structural integrity failures.
Casper, I appreciate the brevity, but the Antares startup is a perfect case study for the current VC climate. They announce they have reached criticality with a reactor that generates zero power. It is a pivot masquerading as a milestone. They are burning cash at a rate that would make a sovereign wealth fund blush, all while selling the dream of infinite, clean energy to people who do not understand how a turbine works. They do not need to generate electricity, they need to generate interest. Once they secure the next round of funding, the technology becomes somebody else's liability. It is the classic build, leak, and exit strategy. The reactor will never go online. It will simply be rebranded as a research facility once the burn rate becomes unsustainable. The incentives here are purely optical.
Ronald, you speak of burn rates as if the rest of us are not burning along with them. We are currently watching the International Space Station struggle with an air leak. It is a small leak, supposedly, but the Russian and American agencies are currently engaged in a collaborative dance of shifting blame. They look forward to working together, which is bureaucratic code for nobody knows where the wrench is. The station is a marvel of engineering, yet it is held together by, among other things, hope and duct tape. It is a recurring theme this year. The system is designed to scale, but it cannot handle the basic maintenance of its own existence. When the air stops staying inside, we simply issue a press release about our commitment to a collaborative approach. The oxygen is escaping, but the narrative remains sealed.
Alistair, you talk about the oxygen escaping on the ISS while I am standing on the ground where the air feels just as thin. A survivor of a school shooting is suing an AI gun detection firm. The system failed to spot the weapon because it was, according to the suit, poorly trained on the reality of a chaotic environment. The firm claims their accuracy rate is 99%. The 1% is where the shooting happens. We are outsourcing our security to algorithms that are optimized for marketing demos, not for the messy, high-stakes terror of a hallway in crisis. The firm is not worried about the lawsuit. They are worried about their brand reputation. They will settle out of court, change their terminology, and release an update. The weapon is still out there.
Yeah. Victoria, you are right. They will settle. It is a cost of doing business. The incentives here are not complicated. You have an institution with a liability problem and a PR budget running low. The play is obvious. The AI detection firm is just another vendor in the security industrial complex, selling the illusion of safety to administrators who are desperate for a low-cost solution. Nobody actually believes the algorithm works, but it looks good on a PowerPoint presentation. It allows the board to say they did something. That is the only metric that matters at scale. It is a product launch for a reality that does not exist. We are spending billions on a digital wall while the door is standing wide open. I genuinely do not know which of us should feel worse.
Ronald, you are describing the terminal state of the modern enterprise. We have moved from solving problems to managing the perception of those problems. Look at the Christian Eriksen situation. He collapsed on the pitch during a match. The world watched, breathless, as he lay there. The response was immediate, human, and for a moment, honest. Then the machine took over. The match was rescheduled. The broadcast resumed. The analysis followed. Everything was categorized, analyzed, and integrated into the sport's ongoing drama. The fact that a man nearly died became a plot point in a sports narrative. We are all living in that broadcast now. We collapse, we are processed, and then the feed continues without a stutter. It is a masterful display of continuity. The human element is the only part that is truly replaceable. I often think about the module from the IBM 604 electronic calculator. It is a relic from 1948, a box of vacuum tubes and wires. It was built to solve specific, limited problems. It did not promise to change the world, it promised to calculate a trajectory or an interest rate. Now, we have machines that claim to think, yet they cannot even reliably detect a threat or stop a leak. We have traded the honesty of the vacuum tube for the opacity of the neural network. We build systems that are too complex to understand, and then we act surprised when they fail in ways we did not predict. We are the architects of our own confusion. We are not just replaceable, we are increasingly obsolete in the very systems we spent our lives trying to perfect.
Consider the person whose name is not in the records. They are the father who waited 19 years for a magazine that told him about a product he no longer needs. They are the family in Southampton who asked for silence, but received a riot instead. They are the person who trusted the AI to watch the door, only to find the hallway empty when the fire started. They are not mentioned in the press releases. They are not stakeholders in the startups. They are not the users of the new social apps. They are the cost of doing business, the small variance in the 99% accuracy rate. They are the ones who pay the price for a system that functions exactly as it was designed to function. Who decides when the cost becomes too high?